Dr. Lords, hit the button.
As long as I'm here. Well, can you hear me back there? Oh, yeah, there's some sound. All right, well, good evening. We'll get going tonight. I know no one has nothing else that they need to do tonight, right? Just this, I'm sure. Well, but thank you for coming tonight. We appreciate you taking this time to come to this. I love how it's the Advanced Opportunities Workshop, which you're gonna get a lot of information tonight. And well, before I go on my spill, I guess I always forget to introduce myself. My name is Jason Lords. I'm Executive Director over Instruction and Learning for our district. So I'm lucky enough to get to work with all of our principals and just a number of different things throughout. But I always love this night. It's really exciting. But like I said, you're going to hear a lot of information. And what I would say is, don't think that you have to pass the test at the end. For you kids, there's really not a test. But really, the people that you'll hear from tonight, they're all very knowledgeable. And when you have questions later on, you just need to reach out to them, and they'll be able to answer those questions for you. And like I said, you'll get a lot of information, and it'll seem overwhelming. But yeah, I always love this night. I told them I took way too much time last time, so I won't. I think I told a story about I have a son that had graduated, and I'm lucky that my wife's smart, right? And then so he was able to, with the help with Corey and his principals, get a number of dual credit courses taken. He's actually in his second year at Utah Valley, and he could actually probably graduate after next semester next year. So basically 2.5 years into college, he can graduate, which is crazy. But it's because of this Advanced Opportunities, the program that we have here, and the knowledge that our principals, counselors, and that everyone in our schools have. So I'll just do some quick introductions so you know who's talking to you as we go through the night. Over here we have Levi Owen. He's the principal at Bonneville High School. He'll talk with you. Stand next to him is Corey Telford. Corey is the principal at Bonneville Online High School. And then he's also our Advanced Opportunities Coordinator for the district. I was having a conversation with a parent the other day, and they're like, well, I keep talking to Corey, but isn't he just Bonneville Online? And I said, no, he does all of our Advanced Opportunities. So if you have questions about that, you can talk to Corey. He'll definitely take care of you. And then Scott Miller is principal at Hillcrest High School. And then Lyndon Oswald is our principal at Technical Career High School. And then we have our guests from the colleges. We have, I want to make sure I get everyone's name right because it's Josh Sakalaris. Am I close? Okay. I thought I ruined it last year, so all right, good. I practiced since last year. And then Mary Stevenson, CEI Early College Coordinator. And then Chelsea Rao. I'm one for 2, 50%, not very good. Sorry, Chelsea. And then Chelsea's here. And then Tyler Williams from BYU, Idaho, and he's not here, correct, Corey? Okay. Whatever that means. Okay, all right. And then Doug McLaren is on the end there. He is the principal here at Thunder Ridge High School. And did I forget? Oh, Casey. Did I skip you on our list? Oh, she's on this one. Casey Bjorkia is also sitting here. She's on this list, but not on that list, so. Well, we hope you guys have fun. We're definitely going to have fun either way, right? But again, we appreciate you all being here, and hopefully you get something out of it. And I think you will. Just don't feel overwhelmed when they start to talk about all the different opportunities that your 6th, 7th, well, really 7th through 12th grader will have. And really what I would say, too, is for people that aren't here, please share this information with them. Even if you have a student or someone that's going to be a junior or senior next year, they can still get going on their dual credit classes and some of the advanced opportunities that they have. And there is funding, and we'll go through all that tonight. So we appreciate you being here. And again, hopefully it's worth the time that you spent. And I will now turn to Mr. McLaren at Thunder Ridge.
Thank you, Mr. Lords. I also want to just do a quick shout out for our tech students here from Thunder Ridge. I can't tell who's back there, but one of the great programs we have at Thunder Ridge and at Hillcrest, I believe, is they have some tech theater. It's students that run all of this and get everything set up, and they do a great job under Jordan Kamick's lead, so thank you, guys. We also, in the audience, we have some of our college and career counselors that are at each school in places to help students succeed. And just to echo a couple things that Mr. Lords talked about, not all of us know all the answers to everything, but someone knows the answer for what you're looking for. And most of the time it's Corey, Mr. Telford. But at each school, there are experts and people that are there in those positions to help your son or daughter succeed and work down this road. I'll share two examples for my own kids. My daughter, she's my youngest, she was kind of an overachiever and she worked real hard. She didn't get her associates, she wasn't really interested in that, but she earned about 66 credits while in high school that she took to ISU with her. Those 66 credits put her in a position where she had very few of the general studies classes to take. So and she's majoring in math and stats. So she gets in there and she gets to her advisor and she says, okay, I want to take some math classes. She needs 15 credits to keep her scholarship. Well, you can only take three math classes at a time. We don't let you take 5 because the workload's too much. And so she said, well, I guess it's just a waste of time taking all those classes early because now I don't have anything to fill up my schedule. I can only take so many weightlifting classes or bowling classes and billiards or whatever it is. But that wasn't the direction she took. She said, okay, I'm going to do a couple majors. And she kind of went through computer science, stats, math. She's really going to do 2 majors now and 1 minor, all because she got a lot of these under the general studies classes out of the way. So it wasn't that she was behind the college classes. In fact, she was quite ahead, and it gave her some opportunities to do a couple majors. My son, on the other hand, he didn't want to do that route. He didn't want to take 66 credits in high school. Bless his heart. He was more interested in just kind of taking some high school classes and doing the high school thing. He earned some college credits. I think he had college algebra, some Spanish classes, some of those classes, maybe 12 or 16 credits, something like that for him, without a lot of any extra effort. Classes that you'd normally be taking anyway, just signed up for those classes. And he went the drafting route, just wanted a 2-year certificate. All of the classes he took helped him in that route. So you don't need to be plan to be go on and get your master's or get your associates. There's a fit for everyone with these college classes, and that's the important thing that I hope you go home with tonight from my perspective. Okay, so it was probably, I want to say in the 70s that advanced placement came about, and the idea with advanced placement and international baccalaureate, some of you might have heard of both of those. In our schools, we're in AP schools, AP district, rather than IB. But advanced placement, the idea was to expose some students, some upper level students to classes, college level classes while they're still in high school. So it was a little bit forward thinking back then. Opportunities for students to take those more rigorous courses while they're still in school. Now, over time, that's kind of evolved a little bit, but as you can see up here, we have 14 AP classes that are offered in the district. Each school might be a little different depending on your teacher certification in that building, but in the district, we have 14 different AP classes to take. The advantages of taking AP classes, they look good on a transcript. Regardless of whether you take the test or not, regardless of how you do on the test, taking an AP class in high school looks good on a college transcript. And when the admission counselor looks at that college transcript, there's a certain standard that AP classes have to uphold to. And so colleges say, okay, that student is at least interested in academic rigor, and we're going to consider that student. Some other advantages, it provides the opportunity to get college credit by getting a certain score on the AP test. Every college looks at that score a little differently. BYU might have one criteria, ISU another criteria, Boise State another criteria, and what those scores count. But they will accept those as a college credit, typically if you get 3 or better. It also exposes you to some college level rigor. We weight, those classes are weighted in Bonneville School District, so they're on a 5.0 scale. So an A is worth 5.5 grade points, whereas a B is worth 4 grade points, which is typically what an A is worth in a regular level class. It might allow you to skip some introductory courses in college, so on. The difficult thing with AP classes is really it all comes down to that one test that you take in May. If you do well on that test, you have a better opportunity to get a college credit that is similar to the class you took. If you don't do well or you get a 1 or a 2, you don't get any college credit at all typically. So there's a little weight on that test. And so I want to say maybe 10 years ago, Corey might be able to help me out on that. 9 years ago, okay, perfect, Corey. Colleges started saying, hey, let's, maybe we can get in the game and offer some dual credit. So what can colleges do while students are still in high school? Because let's face it, if you're a senior right now at Bonneville High School, you're going to be in college. You could potentially be in college in 2.5 months if you start a bridge program or do something like that. June 7th or whatever, you could really be in college. So what's really the difference between me right now as a senior, March 15th, and me as a graduate, June 7th? I'm not going to be that much smarter. Just getting a diploma doesn't magically make me a hard worker and a college student. So colleges said, okay, let's start offering those college level classes to our high school students so they can start earning credit there. And so that's what we call dual credit classes. Those are actually college classes taught by high school teachers. The colleges will articulate with a high school teacher so that we can teach those in our building, and they get college credit for that. Those are just like taking credits on campus at ISU, Weber State, University of Utah. It won't matter. Those credits are the same. And one of our guests will talk about how to figure out how those transfer. Typically, those cost about $75 a credit. There's a lot more options by going that route. It does improve your class rank and GPA. So all these are some advantages of taking these dual credits. And the great thing is the state provides how much? 4,100. The great thing is the state provides $4,125 for students to use from the grade 7 on toward the $75 credit or toward the $94 AP credit. So a lot of these, you can almost get associates for free, almost. It costs a little bit, just the number of credits that you need for associates. So those are some of the advantages that I wanted to share with you on the AP program as well as the dual credit program. Now, there's some drawbacks that we're going to talk about as well, and I get to be the guy that talks about the advantages, and Mr. Miller is going to be the guy that talks about maybe the obstacles that have to be overcome. But you need to have a full picture. So here's Mr. Miller from Hillcrest High School.
Which one's up? The up button. I'm sorry for my attire. Typically, I look a little more professional. But today, I'm honoring my daughter who's at the University of Wyoming, and they're playing the NCAA tournament right now. Go Pokes, okay? So some of the terms that have already been used, first of all, is dual enrolled versus dual credit. So sometimes to take a dual credit class, you may have to be dual enrolled at one of the other high schools. So there's that terminology, okay? Two different things. And one of the major obstacles, as we can see on there, is the scheduling conflict. Sometimes, no matter what we do to try to schedule things, there is conflict between classes, and we'll do everything we can to avoid that as much as possible when we are building our master schedules at all of our classes or all of our schools. But it is inevitable that there's going to be classes that are offered at the exact same time, and students want to take both, but choices have to be made. One of the ones that always seems to get us at Hillcrest, and I don't know about you guys, but are those advanced choir classes are offered one time, and by golly, that's when one of those AP classes is also offered no matter what. And what we try to do, though, is see if we can dual enroll kids at maybe one of the other high schools so they can get that credit sometime during the day. So we work really diligently in trying to get those taken care of. And if you are working through your child's schedule and there are conflicts like that, please reach out to your administrator, your counselor, and we can try to work with the other schools to see what we can come up with and help out. And sometimes the answer is taking the class online, because they offer also a lot of dual credit classes online here at Bonneville Online High School. Need for additional class offerings. Some of the classes you may need a different location. Okay, we talked about that. Now let's see here. I think I'm trying. There we go. This is one, the top bullet there. Additional teachers are pursuing authorization. As Mr. McLaren said, the teachers need to be articulated with one of the colleges or universities. They have to be willing to do that on their own. And I just looked up what a graduate credit at Idaho State University costs, and it's over $525 a credit. So a teacher has to be willing, typically, to get that master's degree in that area at $525 a credit. That's quite the commitment by them and their family to do that. We just can't go, all right, Mrs. McLaren, you're going to teach this class, go get your master's. It doesn't work that way. So we are urging them and working with them to try to encourage them to do this and look for grants and opportunities so they can help pay for their master's degree. But some of the things that happen is, well, you might have the best schedule and best laid out plans for your child, and then that teacher retires or moves or something else happens, and now they're no longer at that high school, so that class is no longer an AP or a dual credit course at that school. That happens. So just be very aware that those are some of the restrictions and some of the problems we run into is as staff changes, so do our opportunities for these courses. Let's see. One of the things that has become more and more popular with our students, because they are taking so many advanced classes at such a young age, it opens up their schedule a little bit when they're older, and they can take classes here in town at the colleges, or even drive up to Rexburg and go up there and take classes on campus. So Corey, how many students would you guess are up in Rexburg taking classes right now? 20 kids that are driving up to Rexburg, or online, okay. And I know we've had kids go up there on campus. I know we have kids going to University Place taking classes. I know we have a lot of kids going to CEI. So there are those opportunities to actually go to the college itself and take those courses. Let's see here. Whoops. I didn't want to do that. I think that was all. My problems were small. They were few. Just want to repeat that please, as you plan things out, be wary that things may change with the staffing in the school district, okay? And so don't panic. We will work our best to try to be as flexible as possible and find resolution, but just realize that sometimes things happen and we have no control over them. So, Lyndon, you're up.
Hi, I'm Lyndon Oswald, the principal of the Technical Career High School. We have just like the other high schools, we're a comprehensive high school. We offer dual credit as well. So our automotive kids are currently taking college classes in auto tech. Our collision repair students are taking college credits. Both of them are going through ISU. And I'm advertising right now for a CNA teacher. So if anybody knows of a registered nurse that wants to teach, we've been advertising for 2 months, and we haven't had a single applicant to teach CNA. And CNA has been one of our largest programs for getting college credits, but it's also really hard to get people from industry to give up $30,000 or $40,000 a year to be a teacher. And that's what we're up against. It's getting more and more difficult. So if you're aware of anyone, I think we're still letting people register for those classes, but it may be a big zero if we cannot find a teacher. I think we're down to the point where if we do get a teacher, we'll put them over at Bonneville and we'll bus kids from around the district. Now, the good news is I have an EMT program and a medical assistant program. We have 90% of our medical assistant students that have already taken jobs. They've been promised jobs at ERMAC and Mountain View. So the placement in that program is incredible. And we haven't even hit the end of the year. I'm sure we'll get 100% placement. So our medical students at the career school are doing extremely well. We also offer certifications at all of our tech programs throughout the district. So that's another option. It's also paid for advance money, or part of that $4,000 they were talking about. So if you have any questions about that, you can come up and talk to me about that as well. But we have 61 slides, so I'm going to bow out.
Right, as was stated earlier, my name's Levi Owen. I'm principal at Bonneville High School. And I want to talk a little bit about why we do this night, right? There's a little bit maybe of a misnomer when we started Advanced Opportunities several years ago, and the messages got lost a little bit. It was like associate's degree or bust, right? If I don't graduate high school with my associate's degree, I'm an absolute failure in life, and I haven't taken advantage of the opportunity been given me. And it's not true. I think all of us can talk about experiences we have with kids that have been highly successful, that have taken advantage of opportunities that did not include getting their associate's degree. And we all have kids that have gone through programs that are in different situations and scenarios. Similar to what Mr. McLaren shared, my oldest son wanted nothing to do with advanced opportunities. If the class didn't involve beating on a drum, strumming a guitar, or blowing a horn, he just wasn't interested. So I did sneak him into a dual credit psychology class one time with his younger sister, just so that I could say that, you know, I supported the advanced opportunities programs in the Bonneville Joint School District. I look at my second child. She'll graduate this year with an associate's degree. She started that plan out in the 7th grade. And that really is the pathway and the process. And so part of what we want to share tonight are the different avenues and things that you can take advantage of to help you out, help your kids out in their future, whether that's sort of that pinnacle experience for some of earning an associate's degree, or whether you're more like my son and have to get snuck into a college class here and there just to make sure that you're still breathing and your heart's beating, right? Part of that process, when you look at college credits, as those of us that have been to college know, there's different core areas that colleges are going to require you to take classes in. Different disciplines that you're going to have to explore, at least at a general level. And one avenue that we talk about, obviously associate's degree, probably a very small percentage of kids. Most of our kids should be able to take advantage of some of these what we call GEM certificate, or these GEM areas, that once you complete them, you get a certificate that says, when I go to college, I don't have to take generals in this discipline, right? And so it's still a very helpful thing to be aware of and look at. And then we have kind of that third tier of kids that are just going to get some exposure, some confidence. Yes, I can do college courses. Maybe they're going to explore some of the career technical and some of those other avenues, which, by the way, I'll give a plug for technical careers. Most of those kids come out of high school making more money than teachers. So just throw that out there. So when we look at GEM courses, there's really 6 different disciplines or areas that you're looking at, and the classes that we offer in those areas. So the first 2 are written communication, oral communication. In the Bonneville Joint School District, we offer classes in both of those disciplines that students can take towards that GEM certificate. The next 2 areas, the mathematical ways of knowing and scientific ways of knowing, you can see the offers that we have, and these are areas that we're striving to grow all the time. As Mr. Miller talked about, the challenge really comes down to, do we have teachers that are certificated and articulated to be able to offer those classes? But the reality is, if we don't offer them and it's something your child wants to do, there's always a pathway generally that we can find those classes. When I talk about my daughter that's graduating with her associates this year, she is one of those students that's taking classes online through BYU Idaho. She's taking classes directly from Idaho State University as well. And so if there's things that you want to take that we don't offer, there are pathways for you to still be able to take those classes. So when you look at these slides, you'll see the number of credits that are required in those areas to receive that certificate. Next to the humanistic and artistic ways of knowing and the social and behavior ways of knowing, again, areas that we are adding classes all the time and trying to allow kids to explore in a variety of different ways. One of the things that I'm really excited about at Bonneville High School, for example, we were able to add art history, dual credit art history into the mix for this coming school year. And so students that traditionally would have had to take a foreign language up through level 3 and 4 classes now have an opportunity, if that's not their ish, if that's not within their wheelhouse, to do that dual credit art history and still meet those pathways in the GEM courses. Kind of parallel with that is the opportunity to earn a STEM high school diploma. Obviously, one of our big employers in the area is the site. They're looking for mathematicians and scientists and people going into those fields. And so as a school district, we understand who our clientele are and the opportunities that are going to be available to kids when they graduate from high school. And so we do have pathways. If you're interested in earning a STEM diploma, there's some additional math credits and some additional science credits that you would need to take, as well as some technology and engineering credits. But know that that's an option. And really, as we talk about tonight, it's going to be like drinking from a fire hose, and you're going to feel like you're being pulled in like 10 different directions, and that's okay. The reason that we do this on a night like tonight is so that you can start making those plans. What is the ultimate goal for my child, for me? What do they want to have out of this high school experience? One thing that I would always caution parents and kids, really 2 things. Enjoy high school. Right? This is the only time in your life that you're going to be this age with these opportunities and these experiences. And one of the pitfalls that we see, that I see as a principal at Bonneville, are kids that it's dual credit or bust all the time. Right? And there's really 2 problems with that. One, they never get to experience high school, which is what this time of life is about. And 2, even those that are on that high track, say you want to get an associate's degree, you're going to run out of money, right? $4,125 sounds like a lot until you start taking dual credit everything, and then you get into the end of your sophomore year, sometimes junior year, and all of a sudden you're out of money and you've still got a bevy of credits left to take, and then you're hitting up mom and dad for some cash because the state no longer covers those credits. So we want to share the information tonight so that you can start mapping out what that program looks like. I'll give you another example just because I know from my daughter's experience. Right, at Bonneville High School, we offer a lot of dual credit courses in social studies. Right, dual credit U.S. History 10, dual credit U.S. History 11, dual credit government, a whole realm of classes that are dual credit. My daughter has taken 0 of those classes because she wants to be an English teacher. None of those classes help her in attaining her associate's degree. None of those classes filled anything even towards a gym certificate, right? So as you start looking at what it is you want to do post-high school to take advantage of those opportunities and maximize the bang for your buck, really it's about planning, and it's about understanding what your pathway is and where you want to go and what you ultimately want to do so that you don't run out of money. And I will tell you right now, if you're getting an associate's degree, you're going to run out of money. Mom and dad, start preparing for that. But I will tell you what, it is much less painful to write out that check for a 3-credit class at the high school dual enrolled level than it is straight from the university. So it still is a really positive thing. But as we talk through tonight, as the university supervisors talk to you, just keep in mind really tonight's about putting you on the pathway of where you want to go and trying to help you understand what's being offered at the buffet and which things that you should eat and which things that you should pass on depending on what your goals are. With that, I think I'm turning it over to Mr. Telford.
I generally don't need a microphone, but I will use it because of recording tonight. So I just want to talk a little bit about Jumpstart High School. Jumpstart High School is a middle school program we started 4 years ago. Basically what that program is designed is for when your students enter middle school, that they're able to take high school courses, whether it be part of their school day or outside of their school day using overload course funding, which is available through the state, through part of your advanced opportunities. We primarily would love for all middle school students to finish their tech certification or tech requirement for high school graduation. One of our high school graduation requirements in the district is that students must take a tech credit in order to graduate from high school. And so we have lots of opportunities for students to do that through the online high school. And we encourage kids to do it. They're all computer-based classes which work well in an online setting. So again, we want kids to be motivated. There's lots of opportunities to do humanities and elective credits, to do health, to do English. I have several students that want to work ahead on everything because they feel very comfortable with English, for example. So they'll do their English 9 and they'll do their English 10. And when they get to high school, they can start taking dual credit writing classes as a freshman in high school or sophomore, okay? And so students are able to work ahead. We do that through the online high school piece, which is part of my job. And it depends on what time of year. It depends on what part of my job the online high school part is and what part the advanced opportunities portion is. But we really offer a couple of other electives. We offer a career explorations class because one of the common questions that I run into is when I sit down to meet with students and their parents, I ask them, what do you want to do after you graduate from high school? And that's difficult when you ask a 6th grader that, right? Or even a 7th grader or 8th grader. I don't expect them to know what they want to do. But when they become a junior, I really expect them to kind of have an idea. So, but I still have juniors and seniors that are on that associate degree path that don't know what they want to do. And that's one of the reasons why we developed this career explorations class, is to give kids an opportunity to go and explore 6 different career clusters and do some activities in which they would like they would do in a job setting and stuff like that. So that's one of the reasons why we offer it for both. Kids can get a middle school credit or they can get a high school credit. We put everybody in the high school class, and then if their grade is not sufficient enough, that A or B range, then we give them the middle school credit instead. But we try not to penalize middle school students for the class if they're willing to do that. It's been talked about a little bit. There's what's called the GEM certificate. The GEM certificate is 36 credits, 37 credits, something like that, in which you meet the 6 different goal areas that are required that Levi went over, those GEM areas, plus usually 4 to 5 additional elective credits. And in some cases, in the case of CSI, those 4 additional credits are required credits in a gen ed class and a health class. By the way, if your student is a sophomore in high school and taking health, they take a dual credit health version of it. Every kid is exposed to a dual credit class as a sophomore in high school, okay? If you take it before that, you get the high school credit, and it's fine. You don't have to take the dual credit health, okay? But we just need you to have a health credit. CEI, you just have to have those 6 plus the additional 4 credits in order to get the GEM certificate. 5, 6? Okay. I should have looked closer. I apologize. It's around 40 credits. How's that? Okay? The good thing about the GEM certificate, and we don't have a lot of kids that apply for it, I don't know why, because we have tons of kids that have over 40 credits and have met those 6 different goal areas, is it waives your gen ed requirements if you go to a Idaho university or college. So you don't have to worry about taking English or taking a university-specific course, okay? So there's lots of positives about doing the academic certificate. My target for my own boys has always been to get 30 to 40 college credits. That's been my target. I've been doing this since my 27-year-old came in was a freshman, and I was starting to build the program because he was coming to high school in the previous district I worked. So I've been doing this a long time, and even at that point in time, I still only shot for 25 to 40 credits, okay? It's very easy. It doesn't take a lot of extra effort to get that 30 to 40 college credits. To get those additional 20 credits, it takes some effort on the student's part, okay? As Mr. Owen said, we offer an associate degree and all the other principles. That associate's degree, again, focuses on those 6 areas. If you're getting it from Idaho State University, we still have to meet goals 7 and 8, which are, and 9, 7 or 8 and 9, sorry, let me clarify. And those 7 or 8 and 9 are university-specific objectives that they require, okay? Plus you need additional electives in certain areas in order to meet their major requirements. And yes, question? No, that's perfect.
I'm just wondering, you guys are only mentioning universities here in Idaho. How well did these transfer out of state?
I'm going to get to that. Okay? So when I have nothing else to do, July, I go through and map out how things transfer to all the other colleges and universities. University of Utah, BYU Provo, Utah Valley, Montana State, University of Montana, Oregon. I go pick some colleges around that our students go to, and I map out, and I'll show you a document that I put together for everyone. Okay? Yes? It is not. It is a private college, and they're amazing. My boys have gone there. They accept every credit. My son took a college algebra class. He had to go meet with his advisor. He got it on his, they approved it. So, okay? Yes? I'm going to get to that. We got lots of questions, and that's awesome. In fact, maybe I'll just turn over to Q&A and we'll be done for the night. Yes, they can. And Chelsea's going to talk about this in her presentation about what it takes to enroll in the college class, okay? So I'll leave it for her to talk about and go through. But last year we had 29 kids that actually completed their associate degree. We had another 10 that had between 50 and 58 credits completed. So we had about 39, 40 kids district-wide that were in that associate degree. We don't expect there to be more than 10% of any graduating class, okay? And and it's okay. Like there's things that kids choose and to do, and it's perfectly okay for that. The GEM certificate is easily available and readily available for students to get. Okay, Casey, you're up.
All right, I'm gonna make this so fast. So fast.
I talked way too long.
No, you were great. All right. Okay, I'm here to talk about advanced opportunities, the funding mechanism for paying for all of these wonderful opportunities we've been talking about tonight. I'm going to try not to look back too much at the presentation. It's really hard not to. Okay, so students have access to $4,125 that can be used. Not $41,000. Yeah, that would be fantastic, though. We see that average use across the state is about $800 per student. And so you'll see that really it's about making it work for your student, about eliminating financial barriers for them. There are 4 things that our students who attend Idaho public schools can use funding on, and we'll cover each of these. Overload classes. When we talk about 7th graders using funding, we're not usually talking about them jumping straight into college. We're talking about them taking high school overload classes. We'll talk about dual credit examinations and workforce training courses. Give me a nod if I hit over 6 minutes. Here we go. All right, let's talk a little bit about overload classes first, as that's what your 7th graders will start with. Does anyone in here have a 7th or 8th grade student here? Oh my word, you guys, that's awesome. Okay, fabulous. So you can get started now working toward this. They would use funding for overload classes. Now, what is an overload class? An overload class is a high school level class that is taken outside of the school day. And why do students typically do this? Number 1, they may want to graduate early. We have a scholarship for students who graduate 1 full year early. Number 2, they may also want to open up opportunities in high school so that they can use funding for things like a certificate in high school or dual credit later on. A couple of things that you need to note. If advanced opportunities is used to pay for this high school level class taken in middle school, it has to go on the high school transcript. So you want to be sure that your students are self-motivated, that there's a purpose behind what they're doing, that they recognize that the work that they're doing in these classes is going to be on a permanent transcript for them. So that's one thing to note about. There are a few things that we look for in order to qualify as an overload class. The first is that it's taught for high school credit. It needs to be taught by an Idaho certified teacher, and it's provided by an accredited school. We work really closely with IDLA, but I know you have a really great online school here in the district that we do a lot of partnership with as well. So you have a whole host of classes that your students can be working on. Usually these overload classes are taken online, just as a note, because they're outside of the school day, and we see a lot of students do them over summer so that they're not competing with their regular schedules during the school year. Did you not hear my plug? Corey, I did it for you, I promise. I gave you a shout out, yes. They're huge, yes. Oh. So we can pay up to $225 per overload class for those as well. Yeah, same price. And then 75, IDLA charges 75 through them, so you can kind of mix and match how you get those. Let's talk about dual credit. You already have had the whole school session on dual credit. A couple things I want you to notice is that we can pay up to $75 per credit for these dual credit classes. This pays for tuition only, so if you have extra fees associated with the class or books, those may come as out-of-pocket expenses for you. And it will cover most of those, but like we said earlier, it wouldn't cover the full associate degree. You could end up being anywhere from a few hundred to about $1,200 that would come out of pocket for that associate degree. But if you were thinking about the cost savings overall, it's tremendous when you're looking at $75 per credit and having it paid for by your generous taxpayer money, right? That's funding this really great program. All right, let's talk a little bit. Hold on. Here we go. All right, I'm not going to go into course transfer because we've already talked about this particular piece. We've talked about transferring. A couple of things I want you to note is it needs to be provided by a regionally accredited school. This means that we will pay for courses taken outside of Idaho public providers. We'll pay for courses taken through private schools, through courses taken through out-of-state schools like Utah State. We even have students at Princeton and University of Texas and other places who are using funding for credit. A couple of things to note. We pay Idaho public schools directly. So Boise State, CEI, CSI, ISU, we are able to pay them directly, so there's no out-of-pocket cost for your family. If your student chooses to take a course through a private school potentially or out of state, you would be reimbursed for that funding. So we would be able to send that to your district. So know if you're expanding who you're taking those classes from, there may be an upfront cost and you may be reimbursed later on. We do have a really great, it's kind of built in to provide a safety net. Once your student earns 15 college credits, they're required to receive advising. We want to ensure that, and you have great advising here, you have great ICCCAs here. Where are you at, CCAs? Okay, there's like a little way. It was the most exciting thing ever. Right, we've got fabulous ones here who provide advising at the high school. We want to be sure that as your students are utilizing this funding, that they're doing it in a way that's intentional so that they can be stretched but not overwhelmed with the coursework. We want them to grow through it and expand through opportunities, but not be overwhelmed. So we provide advising so they can decide and learn more about how that's going to work toward their degree path later on. Okay, we also pay for the full cost of examinations. We've already talked about AP earlier. IB is kind of a moot point here on this side of the state. For a little while longer, there's an IB school starting up. We'll also pay the full cost of professional certifications. CLIP exams we pay the full cost for right now, which is awesome. And CLIP exams we won't talk about much, but you can go to a college campus and essentially test out of their classes, and we'll pay for the fee, the testing and proctoring fees for that. And now we pay for ACT and SAT exam costs as well. So your students can take the ACT one time and use funding for that. Now note that if your student's is taking the SAT day, like taking it your junior with the rest of the school, they won't be able to use SAT funding, but in the future, when we're no longer doing those SAT days, potentially your students could use funding for one SAT exam as well. So we're expanding the use of funding for those. I want to show you, I am literally the worst, and I am over time, and I can't make it work. Okay, here we go, let's go back. Oh, shoot. There we go. Oh, thanks, Chelsea. All right, I want to show you a few of the certification exams so that you can see some of the options available here. It's everything. We have over 150 certification exams that are eligible. We pay for the full cost. When we talk about students coming out of high school being able to make good money, it's because of these programs here. They can earn their CNA and get that exam paid for. They can earn food. We have food services. We have welding. We have machining. Everything that you can imagine that's tied to a CTE field, we can pay for that exam for your students. And recently, we added workforce training. So you can go to CEI, one of our local providers of workforce training courses. If it's an approved course, your student can use up to $500 per course and $1,000 per year for workforce training courses potentially for your student. These have to be approved and they have to be regionally in need and in demand. So it's not going to be the full list of courses, but you can see on our website which courses will be available for funding and eligible. All right, as we start moving along here, we're getting close. Ooh. Okay, that doesn't look very pretty. All right, the early graduation scholarship is available for students who graduate one full year early. So if you have anyone who's ready to do that, it has to be one calendar year early, graduating with the cohort ahead. And right now it's a little over $1,800. They can take that with them to an Idaho public institution if they use that within 2 years of graduation. 28 months total. So that might be an option if your student is interested in graduating early and has plans and is working toward early graduation. All right, just a couple of things I want you to think about. What are some of the next steps? Think early and often about that learning plan and how your student is moving through it, how each of these classes and certifications play a role in your student's progress and in their goals. And then let's talk a little bit about what it looks like. Your student will use what we call a portal to request their funding. So they'll create an account at their school. After they do that, they also need to turn in a participation form, and you'll find out some key things. One I really want to point out, if your student fails to earn credit for a course, they must sit out from funding that following trimester and pay out of pocket for an upcoming course in order to become eligible. So while there are tons of benefits with this program, there are also some risks for your student to pay attention to as well. So make sure if they are using funding that they are on track to pass their classes. Pay attention to those add-drop deadlines as well. Then they'll enroll with their provider. Applying for advanced opportunities funding is not the same thing as enrolling with their provider. So make sure you know those are two separate steps. And then they can request funding through our Advanced Opportunities portal for that course. Okay, just to close things up, I'm going to turn it over to Josh. Josh, oh, you're early on, so you get to provide your words of wisdom early. Did you do it on purpose? Aww.
Dude, that's the worst slide, man.
Take it from me. That was too long.
She said a lot of words, and I'm not going to say that many words. And that's not the good phone number. I'm Josh from CSI. And, yep, good slide. So usually I go last because I just kind of like say some words of wisdom. You all know where CSI is. It's out of Twin Falls. And you're probably like, wow, that's a really long ways away to be doing dual credit. You're right. I want this to be perfectly clear about dual credit. To be able to get the degree, either in the associate's or the academic certificate, you're basically taking credits from all of us and you're going to smush them together to make a degree. Sometimes that's not clear for parents, where they think, oh my gosh, I'm going through one institution for the whole entire thing. Pretty tough to do that. It's doable, but really, you're smashing them all together to make the degree. Okay, CSI does a ton of dual credit down in District 93. I mean, really, if you throw a rock, you could probably hit one of our teachers. Okay, so we're here. I live here in Idaho Falls just because that's how much business that we kind of do up I-15. So I have kind of two things, and then we'll be done, right? First thing is, this is not for everyone. And I say that every single year. This is not for everyone. So, meaning sometimes students have to choose between possibly a sport and doing dual credit. And that's a hard decision to make. And Corey, I mean, he hit it right on the head, or somebody did, where they're still kids. And we have to treat them like that. And this is the time of their life that they're in high school and they're having fun. So, really sit down and have that conversation. Is this worth it for you? And is this something that you really, really want to do? It has to be their idea, as meaning the student. I've had just too many parents start to dig their little hands. That's not none of you, but they dig their little hands in there, and it becomes their idea instead of the student's idea, and it usually falls apart relatively quickly. Second notion I want to just put out there is this takes tons of advising. And you really, really, I know we've stressed having a plan, but I'm telling you, marking it out and getting with your college and career counselors and your counselors and Corey Telford at home. You can text him at home. His number is, hold on, and you can, at nights is perfect, like 10 p.m. or, okay, whatever it takes, right? That, you heard it. So really, advising is so key. I've had just too many students get to the very end of their degree and they're missing 3 credits or they're missing 1 credit and we're scrambling to find it, right? And so luckily, a couple of years ago, CSI opened up the playbook to all our classes online, and I guess in person if you really want to commute, but all the classes at CSI out of Twin are dual credit eligible. So anything you want to take online is going to be the $75 tag, and the state will pay for it. So that's including accounting 201 and criminal justice and whatever you think of. If it's online, you can take it. Okay? So advising is key. Done.
Well done, brother. I will put your correct slide on.
Yeah. You can put my face up there. I mean, I do have one slide. He knows me so well.
Do we think I'm next?
There you go. I actually don't know. You want me to click it for you?
I'll click it, and then we'll switch if I'm not. Hi, everybody. I'm Mary from College of Eastern Idaho. We're at the community college literally just down the road. And for those of you who might have grabbed papers as you came in, I have a couple of handouts out there that I just want to talk to you about. The first thing I do want to echo that everyone else has said is that advising is key. And so having that plan and talking to the right people and asking questions throughout the process will make you much more successful throughout the whole thing. But I want to point out, you've learned a lot of terms already tonight, and all of the colleges kind of have our own terminology for the way we do things. So on the handouts out there from CEI that you grabbed, you can see that we have 3 different things that are under our umbrella of early college programs. So we call it dual credit when it's happening at a high school, and there's a list out there of the different classes that we have through dual credit. You will notice that there is a warning on that form that says that not every course is taught every year, and you need to talk to your high school about what is going to be offered in the year that you're looking. And then we call it concurrent enrollment when students are going to come over on campus. You have the unique opportunity being so close to a college campus that if you want to do that, that could be an option for your students. You do have to coordinate that carefully with your counselors at the high school, but as you heard, if students have certain goals, everybody's going to try really hard to help them reach those. One difference you'll notice, though, is that we allow 9th through 12th graders to take CEI dual credit classes, but you do have to be 16 to be taking a class on campus. So there are a couple of differences there. And on this sheet that talks about the CEI options, you can also see just kind of a breakdown of some of the other differences between those 2 types of courses. And then the last thing that students can participate with CEI through early college are the workforce training options that we have. So as Casey mentioned, there's a big variety of things that they can do, but I do want to point out to you that those are non-credit courses that lead to industry certifications. So you want to, again, be careful about the courses that you select, but we have a number of students that will participate in our summer cyber classes. You can get different computer certifications. There's beginning welding certifications that students can do. Students can, in their senior year, they could actually start a full apprenticeship within a trade using workforce training. So those are amazing opportunities, and so we're hoping that all of those things together, that we're going to be offering something that every student will want to take advantage of and try at least one thing. So you'll notice on here again our rules at CEI for 9th and 10th graders. If you want to take a class, you have to have a 3.0 high school GPA. For most 9th graders, that would mean that your first class you couldn't possibly take until at least 2nd trimester of a 9th grade. But typically a lot of students don't, starting 9th grade is really early. I would say we see much more often a student would start in 10th or 11th grade. And then for 11th and 12th graders, we have that 2.7 recommendation. So those are just CEI rules that could be a little bit different from other schools. I do also want to mention, because you guys are all locally here in Idaho Falls, CEI offers every summer a summer bridge program that's very unique. Summer bridge is typically for high school graduates who are going to college the next year. We open our summer bridge program to 10th through 12th graders, and it's you take 2 classes. You choose either there's a psychology and communications track, or there's an environmental science and career exploration track, and you get either 5 or 6 credits by participating in that in the summer. And all expenses are paid between advanced opportunities and then some grant money that CEI has. So all of the textbooks and fees and things like that are paid. And then we also have academic workshops that are built in. There's guest speakers that come. We feed students once a week. So it's a really great way for students to kind of have that first college experience on a college campus if you're ready to do that. And we offer that every summer. So again, as you're planning and thinking about what you might want to do, some of you are in 7th grade and think about, things you might want to take advantage of as you go. A program like this would be an option for you in the future. So I just want to mention too, we've talked a lot about advising and how important it is to be intentional about your course choices. This is just an important thing to know as well, that in college, when you're talking about college courses, deadlines really matter, and deadlines for all of our institutions are different. So I just put a little rule of thumb up here that if you're taking dual credit, that those classes get registered in the high school when they're starting, so typically the first couple weeks of a class. Concurrent enrollment, if you're taking things on campus, you can register much earlier. So those are just things to be aware of. And then the process at CEI is that students have to get admitted. That's how they become a college student with our college, and then they have to do registration each term. And then, of course, apply for advanced opportunities. So I put this slide up here just to see that there are a lot of common questions that we get all the time. And again, as everyone has said, nobody expects all of you to remember all of this. You have fantastic resources at your school. There's lots of people who can help answer questions. And just feel free to keep asking them as you go. We've addressed a lot of the big ones. Will courses transfer? Yes, almost all the time, but you'll want to check. AP, you can mix AP and dual credit together. Students can do a variety of different things. And then those possible goals, students can earn associate degrees at CEI, they can earn that GEM certificate, that general education certificate. We have some students who are very driven toward a particular goal, nursing in particular. We have a lot of students who want to work on nursing prerequisites as a high school student so that they can apply to a nursing school right out of high school. And so they might only work on 5 or 6 classes, dual credit classes in high school so that they're meeting that particular goal. So as you're thinking about those things, I would just really encourage you to talk to your counselors and open up those conversations so that they can help steer you in the right direction. And then if you have any more questions, you can always just go to the website. All of the information is there. And also, because you guys live locally, I always put a plug in here for our tutoring services. We're a community college, which means we offer free community services. So all of you, even though you are in 7th or 8th grade, if you ever need some tutoring help, those are free services that happen on the community college campus. And then certainly things that students could utilize as they are in dual credit classes in high school. So there's a lot of great opportunity. You can also schedule an advising appointment if you'd like to talk to a college advisor. The last thing I will say is that students who are working on these goals in high school, whether your goal is a little bit or a lot, there's some tips on that sheet that has the course options, but it's really important that students are meeting with people in 2 places. So students who are trying to get associate degrees, it's important that you are meeting with your high school counselor, but you're also touching base with the college that you're trying to earn a degree from. A lot of things change at the college level all the time, and so you want to make sure that you're staying in the loop. And then the very last thing I just want to mention is that when you guys register, remember that you have to be registered in 2 places. So if you're going to get credit in 2 places, you need to register with the high school, and then you also need to register with the college. Sometimes students are in the high school class, they know it's dual credit, but they don't ever actually register with the college. So we all will try to make that all happen, but you need to be registered in 2 places. So that's all I have. Chelsea?
Thanks, Mary. All right. I didn't expect to be batting cleanup here, so I'll try to be fast about it. That's me. I'm Chelsea Rao. I'm the director of early college at ISU. And, excuse me. So we like to point out the cost savings because I think that's a huge benefit for students. Students obviously are paying $75 a credit when they're taking college classes. That is a statewide thing, FYI too. All of our institutions within the state of Idaho only charge $75 a credit, even the private institutions, so that's awesome. Part-time students on campus right now are paying $402 a credit. So a 3-credit class would cost over $1,200 just to take that class. And that doesn't include books, that doesn't include any other fees that are associated with that class as well, parking. So all of those things that come along with being a college student. So, and I listed that all out there for you too. So you can see the equivalent of 12 credits versus what 12 credits of high school dual credit costs. Did it go? Is it up or over? Yeah, side. There it goes, okay. So eligibility, we do require, and actually this is a change on here. So students do need to be 16 years old and have a 2.7 GPA. So this is a slide from a couple of years ago, but that's okay. We also, so they have to be 16 and have a 2.7 GPA, or they have to have completed half of their high school graduation requirements and have a 2.7 GPA. Or we will accept special permission from a school counselor, school official, someone who knows that maybe the student had a struggle, or there was something going on with, a family member. Anyways, life happens for kids too, right? And so we want to just make sure that that student is ready to be successful in college courses, okay? So that is our eligibility. I promise I'm pushing the button. Yeah, maybe best. Okay, so thank you for those transferability questions. Let's chat about that. So all of our institutions offer dual credit classes, and those are transcripted on official institution transcripts. It is no different than a student who is a matriculated student taking classes at the institution. They get the classes earned on a transcript, okay? But they must be transferred, okay? So I always tell my students, set a calendar reminder for about June 15th. That's approximate date where most of those classes that the students have taken will be final transcripts at that institution. So that's when students can transfer on their transcripts. Keep in mind, official transcripts cost money. So we want to make sure that we are sending official final transcripts to wherever the student's going. So keep in mind, if a student's coming to Idaho State University, they don't need to do anything with their ISU transcript, but they would need to send their CEI, their CSI transcript on to Idaho State University, okay? So then the same goes if they're gonna go to CEI, and they have ISU credits or whatnot, they need to be sending those on, okay? So I always say June 15th is a great magical date to put in your calendars when your student has just graduated from high school. Send those transcripts to wherever they need to be going. All institutions have transfer articulation guides. This is a fabulous tool. A lot of them are very transparent about them, and they have them available on their websites. So what you can do is just search transfer articulation or transfer guide, and then the institution that you're looking to transfer credits to. And then you can just go in, it's very nice, easy, usually, to plug in the class that you're taking and how it will transfer to that institution. Let me just tell you, if they are not transparent about that and they don't have it on their website, it is the registrar's office at that institution that you would then give a phone call to, okay? We've already talked about AP and dual credit, but I really would like to give you guys this resource, coursetransfer.idaho.gov. This is where all of those general education requirements, the GEMs that we saw on the slides, this is where a lot of those will be housed, and you can see how classes will transfer between institutions. Also, you can see the general education requirements for each institution too. Additionally, on top of that, you can see AP classes along with the dual credit piece. So that's an awesome tool. So I really recommend going there. One caveat. It's not as updated as we all would really like for it to be, okay? Just being honest about that. But that is still a great tool to see how things will transfer if you do have questions, okay? Next, please, or am I done? It's been a while since I've done this presentation, so. Oh yes, we're done. So if there's any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. This is our office line and email, and we are happy to meet with your students. Can I talk a little bit about graduation and commencement and stuff, fun stuff like that? With our associate's degree plan, we work with your students. They are assigned an advisor, of course. You know, you keep hearing advising. It's super important to meet with an advisor, and we assign them an advisor from our institution as well. But some of the fun stuff that we don't want to forget about is that we invite our students to participate in commencement. And so they get to participate in our spring commencement. They will actually be a summer graduate. So they technically have to graduate from high school in order to get a degree. So they are invited to our spring commencement and get to participate in commencement. And then they are awarded their degree in the summer. Additionally, we need to talk about the Spanish certificate too. So yeah, let's add that to our slides. So our students here at Thunder Ridge are also eligible to earn a language certificate, a Spanish language certificate in Spanish. It's a basic language certificate. And this is a credential that they get to carry with them, they get to take with them, and it's a fabulous thing. We encourage students to, if they are coming to Idaho State University, they can move on and get their advanced certificate as well. So if you think about it, it's kind of similar to getting a minor in Spanish, but it goes one step further because it is a credential, whereas they don't necessarily put minors on transcripts. Certificates they do, okay? So that's also something, if your student is participating in the certification program, the Spanish language certificate, they get to participate in commencement as well, okay? How are we doing questions? Okay.
I'm going to shut up real quick, I promise. I've got like 50 more slides to go through, but we're not going to do that tonight to you. I just want to kind of go through your packet here and just kind of give you some of the information that's in here. On the back of that page, or the first page, is really that process that Casey went through, that whole process step by step and how it relates, this little flow chart with all the description here on that. When it comes to Jumpstart High School, this gives you the information for 7th graders and 8th graders and just some of the course options you would look at in order to do that and go through that with your student if they're in middle school. The next page just shows you Idaho State University's associate degree pathway, and really I want you to just focus on those first 6 goal areas and objective areas and what that looks like. And then, because that's going to be the same at any of the colleges, whether it be CEI, CSI, BYUI, whatever, Provo, Utah State, University of Utah, those are all the same. And then on the back of that are the different courses from Idaho State that meet each of those objective areas. So they put the goal area there, and then they put each of the courses that meet that. Now to your question, you asked me about transferability, right? So the first page here, or the last page, is how AP exams transfer to each of the colleges, okay? So you can see if I take the AP exam in biology and get at least a 3 at Idaho State University, I get biology 1100 and the lab. If I get a 3, 4, or 5, or I get a 4 or 5, then I get the freshman biology credit for that class, okay? And you can work your way across, whether it be Weber State, University of Idaho, whatever, okay? And then yes. So as far as the preparation, again, it depends on what that student's put into their preparation as they're going through the class, right? It's like anything, if they go to a college class and they're just floating through and show up half the time, they're going to be somewhat prepared to go on to the next 200 level class, right? And so our teachers do a great job of teaching those classes. They have to meet the college standards to teach for the college. They're very specific on, hey, this is what I require of these students. Like I know for example, every one of our writing teachers that teach College Writing 1 or College Writing 2, which is English 101 and English 102, they have very high expectations for those students in writing. Like the students are able to write at a college level when they leave those classes. Like I have perfect confidence in every one of our teachers and what they do. So I don't know how to qualify that. I don't know what your friends' kids have done, or I have not. I mean, I hear all the time that they may not be ready for the 300 level class, right? Because they took the class a couple years before, right? I mean, and so they may have forgotten some of that information along with high school, right? Like, for example, if a kid is on the accelerated track and has done biology as a freshman and jumps into dual credit biology as a sophomore, but then waits till they're a sophomore in college to take anatomy and physiology, for example, there may be a little bit of a gap there. There might be a lagging. And so I would say that's probably the reason why they may not be prepared in one way. Because to get to that point. They've done well in the other class. It's just there may be a time gap in doing that. So that's why we use some of our local partners to help get those kids to those classes sooner, okay? But really, like, I'll post the PowerPoint on our website. We house everything under Bonneville Online High School in the district. I can control it. That's why it's housed there. So if you go to d93online.com, you can click on the Advanced Opportunities link at the top, and you can see all the things there that we covered. And the same thing on the very back page, this really small writing you need a magnifying glass sometimes to look at. This is how our courses transfer to also each of those colleges. Now, I will warn you that this is 2 years old. I need to update it. That's the plan, okay? But as of 2 years ago, that's how classes transferred, okay? So things change, right? Do things ever change at the college? Yeah. So things change every year, every half year, every 3 months. I try and stay on top of it as best I can by updating everything every 2 years, okay? And so this resource is out there on our website underneath Advanced Opportunities, okay? So you can actually get it to a size that you can read without having a magnifying glass. Okay, most importantly, questions, because that's really what you're here for. I mean, you got a spiel from us. I feel like we've killed you with information, but questions. And I'm just going to walk around because I have ADD. Yes, sir.
I might just add, to your point, my daughter is taking classes directly from the
Can you talk more about if a kid gets to like Spanish 2 and doesn't want to continue pursuing to Spanish 3 and 4 and whatever, how can they fulfill those other classes if they don't want to keep that language going?
There are options. So we have music classes that are available, other humanities classes. We have fine arts classes. There's art history that's offered at Bonneville High School that kids can do that. We have a music class, a survey of jazz and pop music here at Thunder Ridge that's offered. There's a dual credit literature and ideas that we offer that meets a humanities part of it. And so do a humanities class and then do a fine arts class, and that will meet that requirement. Yep. There was another question.
Does the Advanced Opportunities website that you spoke of, does that show how much money the students have used and how much they have remaining? And then also, is that amount prorated if, for example, they moved to Idaho as a sophomore or junior, or do they get the full amount no matter when they came here?
It's a huge advantage for a kid that comes as a junior. They get $4,000 to spend.
Mine's about the Spanish program. Does Hillcrest also have that language certificate available?
Mr. Anderson does through NNU.
So back to the portal, do they allow, is that where we pay for the credits if they've already expended their fees? Or do you have to go directly through the colleges?
You pay the college directly, correct? Thumbs up. I'm correct. Other questions? I'm walking. It's a great thing.
What if we move to Utah? In a couple of years, will all of this still kind of track with us?
So it will work for you as long as you are in Idaho, but I'm going to let Mary talk about it because Mary came from Utah, and I'm walking. We're recording, though. We want to make sure all posterity can hear this question.
concurrent and dual enrollment programs are different in every state. Your credits are very, very highly likely going to transfer to Utah schools, but the program itself is different in Utah. There's still a tuition benefit in Utah, but it's not structured the same way it is in Idaho. So if that comes up, and you, another great thing about advising here at the colleges is we usually have a lot of resources to help connect you to something else. So if you ever come across something like that, there's usually someone in the network who can help you. But yeah, Utah has a great system. It's just different than it is in Idaho. And credits do transfer really well between Idaho and Utah.
Other question?
I have a question. So on here it says that career explorations is a middle school course? Or a high school course. So if you take the high school course, it'll still count, even though you're in middle school? Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. That's our idea. Other questions?
Sorry, I keep asking a lot of questions. And I feel like I'm throwing you a curveball because this is kind of random. But my daughter wants to go to hair school, and my sister, who does hair in Utah, said in Utah, you can go to hair school while in high school. And I'm wondering if that's available here as well.
It is. We have kids when they're a senior in high school that it works with one hair academy here, cosmetology school. It works with Vogue. We're able to send students over. They have a program where they allow seniors in high school to come half a day. And I've went through their curriculum and worked with them, and I work with articulating some of those credits in for students to get high school credit for those classes too. So while they're doing it. So yes, we let kids do it. You have to pay it. Advanced Opportunities does not pay the tuition for it. Okay, but it's a great program. One of our people back there recording the video for tonight, Samantha Williams. You can talk to her about it. Her daughter did it last year, and just graduated and got board certified. So she has lots of positives to say about it. Other questions? Okay, so I'm gonna. If there are none, we're going to be around to answer questions individually for you. College and career advisors, counselors, if you'll raise your hand back in the back there. They're around too to answer questions for you. I trust them with everything. And we're here. We appreciate you coming. Appreciate you being part of tonight's event. We always feel like we have too much information to give you, but we appreciate you being interested and invested. It's a great program. We have probably 90 credits available for students district-wide. And there's multiple opportunities for vocational programs, CTE certifications, whatever. Pharmacy Tech is a great new program we started this year. We have 4 kids that are going through it right now. They're going to graduate with their basic technical certificate when they're done and be able to work as a farm tech, making $36,000 to $50,000 a year as a high school graduate. So you have to start in your junior year, preferably. It's through Idaho State University, through their College of Technology. It's a great thing. MedAssist is the same way. We have great programs. EMT, there's some great CTE programs. So with that said, thank you. We appreciate you very much.